In which country can you survive in the event of a global catastrophe because the water is crystal clear and fruit grows everywhere? In which country 98% of energy comes from renewable sources? According to the International Happiness Index, which country has the happiest people on Earth? That's right, it's Costa Rica. Today, for 10 minutes, I will tell you how Costa Rica, with a population of only 5 million people, is becoming more and more developed every year, what the country's economy depends on, and why there are so many people, and the reasons people come from America and Europe and stay here forever. Hello! This is the backside of Costa Rica, which is not described in any travel guide. Let's go! So today, we are going to talk about Costa Rica, a country that looks more like a piece of paradise on Earth. It is located in a narrow part of the isthmus connecting two continents. It has access to the Caribbean Sea on one side and the Pacific Ocean on the other. Its nature includes more than 500,000 animals and plants, as well as about 300,000 insects. Why do you need this information? To convey how amazing this place is, where people live in complete harmony with nature. But before we talk about these happy people, let's find out how the country developed and where its money comes from. Let's turn our guide back a few pages. Costa Rica is one of the oldest democracies in Latin America, having gained its independence from Spain in 1821. Interestingly, the residents themselves learned about it only 2 months later. And while its neighbors in Latin America in the 20th century were preoccupied with constant revolutions and military coups, Costa Rica disbanded its army in 1948. Why, you may ask? What do you mean, disbanded the army? Well, yes. Costa Rica and Switzerland are the only two countries in the world that do not have an army. And if there is no army, then there is extra money that used to go to maintain this army. And Costa Rica invests this money in two things. Can you guess what they are? In agriculture, industry, medicine, or education? The correct answer is medicine and education. Quite unexpected for this region, isn't it? And of course, it worked. Today, Costa Rica is one of the best countries in Latin America in terms of healthcare. Medicine is affordable and, for example, heart surgery can be done absolutely free of charge. The country also has the highest literacy rate among Latin American countries. As the locals say, our soldiers are children who carry books, not guns. Or here's an example. In Costa Rica, there are several schools with only one student, because the Constitution says that education should be compulsory and free up to the 9th grade. And if it says so, then even if there is only one student living somewhere in the jungle, the teacher is obliged to come and teach him or her. And all this is surrounded by countries like Nicaragua and Panama, where the situation is completely opposite. But let's look at the country's GDP today. As we can see, the country's economy is developing from year to year. Today, Costa Rica's GDP is $70.6 billion. If you look at various sources, you will read that the country's economy depends on the export of bananas, coffee, and other agricultural products. But this has not been the case for a long time. Indeed, Costa Rica is now one of the leaders in coffee production and is one of the 4 major banana exporters in the world. But at the same time, agriculture accounts for only 5% of GDP. But 20% of exports are electronics and medical equipment. Most likely, the processor you use on your computer is designed and manufactured in Costa Rica. Wow! That's a surprise again, isn't it? But how did it happen? As I said before, the money from the army was directed to education. In addition to the fact that most of the population has secondary and higher education, they are also bilingual. In addition to Spanish, many speak English. It was necessary to take proper advantage of that. To do this, a special state investment promotion agency was created in Costa Rica, which began looking for investors among technology companies. and in 1996, Intel built its plant here. A few years later, other companies did that as well, such as Dell, IBM, HP, Baxter, Bayer, Bosch, and many others. Thanks to political stability and a highly skilled labor force, Costa Rica has become a leading country among Latin American countries for foreign direct investment. The medical equipment manufacturing sector is also successful. The country is attracting global giants such as Johnson & Johnson. For example, they recently announced the construction of a new 200,000 square foot plant, which will create about 3,000 additional jobs in Costa Rica. In other words, over the past decades, the country's economy has transformed from a raw material economy to one that produces a huge amount of medical equipment and microchips. We should also not forget about another major sector that affects the country's economy. This is tourism. In 2023 alone, the country was visited by more than 2 million people, with 40% of tourists from the United States. Thus, we have a country that is successfully developing from year to year. But there are many such successful countries on the planet. What exactly made Costa Ricans the happiest? Let's move on to the next chapter of our guide. But first, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss new interesting videos about other countries. Thank you. Well done. The International Happiness Index was first calculated in 2006. For many years, Costa Rica has been the leader among all countries of the world, with the United States ranking in the second 10. If we compare the GDP of these two countries, the comparison will be far from favoring Costa Rica. However, the creators of the International Happiness Index emphasize that it is not wealth that makes people happy, but health and a favorable environment. Indeed, Costa Rica is a world leader in environmental issues. In 2015, Costa Rica achieved a milestone when it was able to generate the country's electricity from 100% renewable energy sources for 285 consecutive days. Now, on average, this figure ranges from 98 to 99%. But how did they do it? Thanks to its geographical region and geological conditions, Costa Rica has focused its efforts on its richest resource, water. As I said, it is crystal clear and can be drunk from the tap. Currently, 75% of electricity is generated by hydroelectric power plants, with the remaining 25% coming from hydrothermal sources, wind turbines, and solar panels. According to its national strategy, Costa Rica intends to become the first carbon-neutral country in the world. What does this mean? It means that any carbon emissions are immediately offset by doses of oxygen. And as you can imagine, there is a lot of oxygen here, as forests cover 53% of the country's territory. Currently, there are 30 national parks and 51 wildlife reserves in the country. This shows that the love of nature covers the whole country. Moreover, by 2035, 70% of the country's transportation is to be switched to electricity. Thanks to this approach to nature, the average life expectancy in Costa Rica is now 79 years. Despite the development of the country's economy, it cannot be said that the local population lives in full prosperity. The average salary here ranges from $600 to $1,000, but it is enough for them to be happy. Because there is one small secret to Costa Ricans' happiness, something that is not found in any other country in the world. It's about PURA VIDA. PURA VIDA is the motto of Costa Rica. It is a greeting, a farewell, and an answer to the question, "How are you?" It greets you at the airport and is emblazoned on every lamppost and souvenir keychain. Literally, PURA VIDA means pure life in Spanish. However, in reality, this motto means living to your heart's content, and the local population has mastered the technology of enjoying life to the fullest. It is essentially a philosophy of life, a culture, and a way of life. It is said that the term itself appeared in the late 50s of the 20th century, after the release of a Mexican movie. It means that people should be grateful for what they have and not dwell on negative things. In this developed, educated country, there is no rush. Many people think that Costa Ricans are lazy because of this. But they are not. A lot of people work, they just don't hurry. As they say, it's easier and better for the nerves. Here, people enjoy every moment and look for the positive in everything that happens. It seems that this attitude to life has a beneficial effect on health and bears fruit. This philosophy distinguishes Costa Ricans from everyone else, and therefore life in Costa Rica is also very different from other countries. Here are some simple examples. In this country, you can drive drunk, and road signs have appeared here quite recently, since 2012. And if you want to send a parcel or a letter to someone, you may have problems with this because there are no addresses in this country. There are no street names or house numbers. Everyone is guided by some recognizable places nearby. So on a letter, you would write 400 meters east of La Fortune School, 50 meters on the right, a big orange house. To me, everything is clear. All that remains is to find the school. It turns out that PURA VIDA is the way of life of the local population, and the happiness of Costa Ricans is not about the average salary, real estate, or the country's GDP level. Their happiness is in inner peace and balance, in gratitude for what they have, and in faith in the future. Costa Rica is a unique country with a high level of democracy and institutions, although it also faces many challenges. In particular, ports and airports require more investment to further develop the economy. The lack of proper infrastructure in the country affects life in general, and the list goes on. But all this does not really affect the internal state of Costa Ricans. They are really happy with what they have. In 1948, when Costa Rica abolished the army, it adopted a constitution that is still being followed today. In it, the government promises its citizens to stimulate production, ensure the quality of education, and maintain harmony with the environment. It is this unity with nature that makes Costa Ricans the happiest people on earth. What do you think? Write your opinion in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you soon.